Oh god, that's bright. Hello. So I wanted to start today with, well, today we'll be doing the inner race or the focus track um, for the lenses. What I wanted to show you guys was a few things that I decided to do over the weekend. Um, my original upgraded light is over here, and it is for my assembly table over here, this rolling cabinet, and it's an additional light for when I need to do other things. But what I did do is I made a slightly bigger one. This one is 15 inches versus I think the other one is about 10 inches. So if we zoom out, you can see just how far it spans. So it covers the entirety of the assembly mat here, and it's controlled by a PWM here. This is a low voltage PWM, so what I can do is I can dim the LEDs so I can get different ranges of lights. And you can see, oh no, it doesn't do it anymore. Let's zoom in. Oops. Let's zoom in. There was a point when you could actually see the different waves, or I guess the refresh rate of the LEDs, but not anymore. But it, right. Controlled by a PWM, and it's installed into a boom arm, an adjustable height boom arm for a mic. And this is I believe it's a 3/8 by 28, and I thought it would be a quarter inch by 20. Uh, so this is slightly wrong. So before I release the STLs for this, I need to update the insert here. So I've got to at least start some threads for 3/8 by 28. But it's still, you can rotate it. It's got a slight movement, and it's capped in with a peg. So the cable for the light or the LEDs actually runs through this slot here, and it's what stops it from rotating too far left or right. And I accidentally stepped on the LED strip because I dropped it, and it knocked out three of the LEDs on this strip. But I think color temperature is 6K or 6,000 Kelvin, which is close to daylight. It's generally what daylight is, 6,000 to like 5,500. Um, the boom arm that I bought is actually more stable than the original one because the original one was for a light, so it was hollow. Is relatively solid, so this one's just not as good, but it still works. And then if we do zoom out a little bit, you can see here a better version of the initial USB enclosure I made for the USB buck converter. It's not really a buck converter anymore because it's just shooting out the 5 volts USB to the PWM, and the PWM, from what I understand, doesn't adjust voltage, but rather it adjusts the width of the pulse so that you can get different brightnesses, and you can get different RPMs out of motors. And that's what I'll be using for the drill driver whenever I start designing it. Uh, then what else? Yes. So this here, I got tired of finding a place to put this when I needed to refill it. So it's essentially a refilling station for this butane lighter. So I don't have to hold it and you get butane all over my hands. I can just firmly press down, and there's less escapement of the gas or the butane. Um, but it also works well as just a regular place to put it. This is the mouse mat, but it's just so it doesn't slide all over the place. Um, and then this is what this is what I really needed. This is my drilling station. So we have a cooling liquid, which I just use water, like I said in the previous stream. And when I go to tap holes in the plastic, so let me give you an example. Sure, just so if we have something like this, this is the lens housing, right? I haven't cleaned it up or anything, so it's still kind of unfinished. So what we're going to do is we're going to drill and tap these holes here. So we're just going to drill this one. And then we're going to clean the flutes of the drill bit with the brass brushes here, so that when we go back to drill more holes, we get good cuts, right? And the water is here to help cool and dissipate the heat generated when drilling the holes for cleaner, more accurate cuts, or I guess holes. And it's important at this fine a millimeter, I guess, so that we get good, clean 1.2 millimeter holes. And same thing here. Dip it into the water so that we can lubricate and also cool the bit or the tap and the plastic at the same time, so that the cuts that we do in here are cleaner and there's less risk of tearing out the plastic material, so that again we get better bite when we screw in our machine screws. And then it's just into the brass brushes again, so that we get clean threads for when we cut again. So back in the water, then back to tapping. And this brush actually is saving my hands, because usually after I finish tapping a hole, I'd rub it on my fingers, or run it through my fingers, I guess, or kind of like that with the fingers, so that I could clean out the PETG material. But this brass brush cleaner station is helping immensely to reduce the amount of time that I need to clean it after with my hands. And I can get right back into it and then tap those screws. The threads that are cut like this are always, I haven't had a single tear out yet. And the torque on this driver is just enough so that it won't tear out the threads either. So once it gets to where it needs to stop, it stops. Let me just back those out, but good threads. All right. Oh, and then the last thing that I have here is so it's like a removable loop to zoom or to magnify parts when I need to review them. So if we were talking about the part that we just cut, I can bring the light over and then, check if I had cleared all the debris from the print. And what's great about this is that you can see that I'm just easily moving it out of the way. So it's jointed twice, one here and then one here to get it out of the way. And then it takes these loops, I guess, whatever you want to call them. And I purchased, they're like glasses style, and I thought it would fit fine over my glasses, but it didn't. So, you know, I can just pop it off, put it back, and then drop in a new magnification. So there's a 20x, and this gets me pretty close, so I have to be pretty up close to whatever I'm looking at. And if I wanted to look at this, I'd have to be like right next to it. So while not the most useful one, 20x gets me closer, but I usually generally stay at 6x or 10x. Somewhere around there is a good magnification. That still gives me enough distance from my part, but also gives me enough detail in that part so that I can discern whether or not I need to clear up more of the print or not. But that was necessary because I got rid of the magnification or the magnifying glass that was originally on the light stand here. You can see right here. All right, so let's get to cleaning these inner races or the focus tracks. And what we need today, wait, why am I not monitoring this? Give me a second here. Hello. Okay. So, I'm gonna stop the stream real quick. Hello. All right. There we go. So stream should be coming up again. Hello. All right. Yeah. So stream is back. I've got the monitoring, so we're good to go. So I was reading a post on Reddit about how to deal with anxiety when in the creative field. And what they said was, what they did was to stay organized and to plan everything. I think that's great advice. I'm generally a pretty anxious person. I guess a neurotic person. And I do agree, keeping things organized, keeping things clean, is very good to set the stage for the next day and every subsequent day, right? You keep your workstation clean, you know where things are, you don't worry about where things are or finding things in a pinch, you know where they are. And then the other thing, planning everything, I need to work on. Well, I need to work on both of them, but I need to work better on, or work more on planning. Because I've never been a good planner. So what I'm doing is just checking the initial interior diameter to make sure it fits over the lens housing, midsection here. There's still some things we need to clean up, but for the most part, these guys don't need to be dialed in on the lathe. And let me show you. So this guy is like a micro lathe, and it's pretty good. What I do if I needed to get the interior diameter correct is I lock in this this holder. I don't know what you call it, right? You just pop it in there. and then you'd run some sandpaper until it fits. And then if I needed to do the outer diameter, I would chuck in this and then, you know, drop it in like that and then finish off, or take off any material. So once I verify that the interior, or yeah, the interior and the exterior or the outer diameters are correct, I'll throw it on the lathe and then I'll flatten this edge here. This is the edge that has the supports. So if I were to throw it on this, you could see that there are some protrusions and it may not fully seat within the lens housing. And this one, the external or the outer diameter, seems kind of, probably need to knock it. No, I think that's fine. This one needs to be knocked down. This one's okay. 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 It needs to be knocked down a little bit. Knocked down again. Right, so I'll be taking off early from this stream. I've got to drop somebody off at the airport today, or at some point today. So not looking forward to driving in the Atlanta metro area. That's good. And I think these guys may not need to be run through the lathe. I think it's just leftover material from the supports that are making it tighter than it should be. So we can take that off. I used to just chuck these all on the lathe, but that is it's a little time consuming, and it's messy. I have this guy here. This guy here is my downdraft table. That is the outlet, and then the service port is on the back with this little tab if I need to clean it out. That mitigates most of the dust, but there's still a lot of dust that gets picked up, and I don't know if I really want to inhale so much of this resin stuff. Right. So I've got the breadboard in this weekend, or we're doing the wiring, or figuring out the wiring for the drill driver. But I've been holding off from it because I don't like how much runout the chuck has. It's way too much to get anything precision. So what I had to do is I picked up I guess it's collets, right? They should be more accurate because the thread should be more accurate on the locking top, and I mean it just goes straight onto the shaft, and then you lock it down with set screws. So I don't see yeah, I don't see why it would have run out. And then the one thing I do need to figure out is if I'm gonna have like this standard hex attachment, I might have to 3D print like a shaft to hold this in. So I'll need to get some magnets or something, but for the most part, everything is there, ready to be wired up and tested. Just have to get to it. So today, more lens stuff, and it is finishing these focus tracks. I'm just trying to get the inner and exterior diameters correct, so the interface, and then once that's done, we'll clear out these, I guess, channels where the screws run, so it actuates that focus. I've got to run that through the blade. It's way too tight. But the interior diameter is fine. It's just that exterior that I'm gonna knock out. This one, I think it is the supports that need to be cleaned off. So I've been watching The Last of Us. It's getting better. I was sold on the first episode, but episode 2, I don't know about that one. I guess it was good. Um, the third episode that was on this past Sunday was pretty good. Um, Ellie is starting to grow on me. In episode 2, she just seemed like I don't know, some sort of teenager. Um, but I think Pedro Pascal as Joel is great. I was surprised to see Nick Offerman, but I think he did a good job. It's pretty good. If you haven't watched it, I say go ahead. And Nick Offerman is pretty good in that. And while I was waiting for this episode 3 to come out, I binge watched Warrior. It's that show based on some writings of Bruce Lee. I think everybody is pretty good in that. Everybody brings something interesting to their character. I think this one should be okay. It was just the supports. No. Yeah. Generally, I like the tighter fit, so it's not as loose on the focus ring. I'm glad it doesn't get anywhere that cold here in Georgia. Maybe like once there was snow in the past year, but never that cold. I grew up in Minnesota and I do not miss any of that. Like that cold nonsense, that winter nonsense is no fun. Oof. I don't know. How did you fare in that recent weather system or whatever happened? That severe weather system we had, maybe like last month. It's good. It's good. Oh wow. I think here we had a few thunderstorms and maybe like a tornado warning. That was about it. Take this one out. Good. Maybe a little bit. No, no, that's fine. All right. Check interiors. All right, so this next part, I'm gonna mute the audio because I'm gonna be running the lathe along with the shop vac so that I can collect a lot of this dust and debris. I don't know if you guys want to hear the vacuum. I obviously don't want to hear the vacuum through the monitoring. So give me a second, and I will be back to talking. All right, we're back. So everything is kind of cleaned up. External or exterior, outer diameter, inner diameter is all good. Um, it's all flattened and leveled out. Last thing I want to do is I want to indicate uh, essentially I want to keep track of what I'm doing. So I need to mark the interiors so that I don't do more work than I need to. So I applied to two positions out in Sacramento. One is with the state, and one is with a nonprofit. Um, I think I'd be fine with either one of them. Although the one with the state is less graphic design and more just typesetting, which I kind of do like because I can just shut my brain off and then do typesetting, which is no creative thought at all. It's just making sure it looks correct, using the correct typefaces, font size, etc., etc. The position with the nonprofit is a little more graphic design oriented. Um, which I'm okay doing. So ideally, uh, I do the more technical layout stuff over graphic design. We'll see how it goes. All right. So now that we've identified the parts there, what I have here, this is the slot checker, right? It's a machine screw set in some piece that I didn't need. But all it does is it checks the width of that channel there. And I believe they're all slightly undersized so that we can get a good fit. Where is it? There it is. So this usually goes by pretty quickly. I'm probably going to use this to clean off the file. Then Yeah, let's check it. My rocket blower. Generally, I have the vacuum cleaner going on this too, but don't think being on mute makes for a good live stream. And this sometimes takes longer than it needs, but generally not, I guess. So all we're doing is taking slight bits off and making sure we get a good smooth action. At this point, I should probably have a brush for this, but I don't. Yeah, that's good. All right. Give me a second. I'm going to check out my prints over here, which are the aperture blades. I've been looking for something specific. Like I have two aperture guys over here that need to be a specific length. And I think these will work. And it's a little tricky with these aperture blades because post-processing and then post-processing and stuff, it takes off, you know, a little bit more here, a little less there. So I have an assortment of aperture blades, and then, you know, each printer prints slightly differently. So some could be a little longer, a little shorter, or to spec. Generally, they print to spec, right? You put it at 100% scale, prints out the way that you designed it. So generally, what I have to do is I have to print 100%, 100.5, and then these latest guys, 100.8. So the blades themselves should be 38 millimeters, along with the internal track for the aperture blades. But in post-processing and removing, you know, artifacts from the 3D printer, it could end up a little wider than 38. So that's where the 100.5. Okay, I don't know what happened there. Something happened, and I lost connection. So occasionally, I'll be running the vacuum cleaner, the shop vac, because it is going to get a little noisy. Restore the chat. Let's do live chat and then pop out chat. Don't know why I did that. Okay. So we should have these done, or we should have these done tonight. But I'm going to show you after I finish these other two. And this is why I do lens installs last. Right, I get everything to spec, make all this dust so that I can clean everything. And not have anything uh, land in the lens, scratch the lens, etc., etc. But I do have to say, I love this new light. It's so great. And especially, I was able to wire everything up. Like if I open it up and you look at the solder points, you'd laugh. Like I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. Okay, obviously I'm doing something wrong. I just don't know what I'm doing wrong when I solder stuff. You know, I tin everything and there should be flux on, but I mean, the solder joints that I do just look so bad, like laughably bad. Ah. All right. So I think the noise cancellation is actually doing pretty well to um, mute out the vacuum, which is pretty interesting. All right, that's good. Yep. For the most part, it knocks it out. All right. So since I might not finish these guys on the stream, I'll show you what I do once they're finished processing. Um, they get a nice light coat of synthetic grease, so that when they interface with the lens body, everything moves smoothly. And we want that because I'd rather not have hiccups in the focus throw. And I need to figure out a way to make repeatable focus throws so that they're all the same. Right now it all depends on post-processing. Um, but okay. So that is a light coat. And then favorite part is dropping a little bit of grease into the channels. And before I used to, you know, take a dab of it with this brush and then kind of get into place, but it got too messy. So what I do is I have this syringe filled with this synthetic grease, and then an angled needle. And then I can just want to get in here. Can just inject where I need it. I don't have to worry about a mess. All I have to do is get it in there, spread it around, move on. These things are great. Then clean off the tip, put the cap back on, put it away. All right. So that is the finished focus. Let me throw it down on one of these guys. So they will lock into place. With 3 screws. So these are essentially the rollers. They go in here. And then I'm going to run it back and forth so that the grease gets applied throughout the channel and on the screw head. Helps mitigate wear and then overall improves the action of the focus. And this won't work until we get the other half on, but I can show you how it gets connected with these set screws. So I've got 3 set screws that kind of hold everything together. Quite literally holds the entire lens assembly together. So this is how we join the 2 halves of the lens. And oh boy, I can tell you this much. I was initially thinking of doing like a helicoil design, but the repeatability in assembly, I can only imagine would add like so many hours just to get it right every time. Make the symbols align. This way, assembly is really easy, but the focus is like that. And if it was attached to the end here, it would work, but it is not. But that is the action. And we've got the aperture. That is going to be set aside. It should be ready for lenses once we get the other half on. But that is a solid front end or upper end, whatever you want to call it. Upper half. Oh, and I will have this guy up on Git soon. I mean, it's pretty simple, but I'll throw up some like wiring diagrams. You know, the PWM that I use, and like I guess a bill of materials that you'll need if you want to make one. But I think totally worth it. Um, the first version that I did, it's all right, but I like the direct control right up here versus then being on the USB wire. This just makes everything convenient to turn on and manipulate. Right, I can just come here and turn that on and off. Hopefully I don't burn anything out doing this. Um, I mean, overall, it's working great. The USB buck converter does get a little hot, so I don't know. We'll see. I mean, so does this one. So I mean, I think it's all within spec. So it was a long while ago, and I only remembered it because they were doing like this Led Zeppelin thing on the YouTube. But my buddy was listening to Kashmir. Um, but when I said he was listening to Kashmir, he said he was listening to Cocaine, which didn't make sense to me. Because, here, Cocaine is an Eric Clapton song, and he was clearly listening to Led Zeppelin. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Oh boy, we listen to Led Zeppelin. Oh, have you guys heard of this? Led Zeppelin is full fraught with controversy. Like they stole so much music. I think Stairway to Heaven was somebody else's. Oh, and you know you can clearly I could clearly recognize Kashmir because Puff Daddy sampled it for the 2001 or 1999 Godzilla movie. I remember thinking, I'm gonna go watch that movie as a young child. Looking back on it, a terrible movie. But I think that theme song for that movie, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Sean Combs, whatever his name is, sampled Kashmir. Yeah, yeah. Come with me, Puff Daddy featuring Jimmy Page. Dio. What's that song? Purple. Deep Purple. Okay, well, that's his band. Dio. Is it Rainbow in the Dark? No. Ah, Deep Purple. When a Blind Man Cries. That's the one. It's a point in time. I feel like there's a point in time in every person's life, and all they listen to is like classic rock. I remember I had just picked up a 78 280Z. Now, this was before they moved on to the ZX body shape and added like a couple thousand pounds. Um, Not really a 240Z anymore, but still within that same body. But I would drive around in my 280Z that I got for like 500 bucks. Um, just blasting AC/DC. Um, Apparently Deep Purple, Queen. Good. Still a little hiccup. This is good. I've been trying to get back to California because I can't understand. I can't find any decent food here. Like, sure, Korean fried chicken, and you know, it's a pretty multicultural food fair here, right? Atlanta is pretty multicultural. I literally can't find a burrito that's good. Could be that I'm not looking hard enough, but it's good. Um, the abundance of quality burritos in California uh, is legitimately ridiculous. This has to be one of my favorite things. Um, Having like a brass brush, or I can just clean my parts or the tools. Is great. I don't have to worry about finding where I put my brass brush, my brass drill brush. It's just very convenient, and it's always there. I hot glued these in place, and I figure I shouldn't need to replace them, right? I mean, at some point I will, but I could always just print the body again, and then drop in some new brass brush heads, of which I have multiple now, because I got this small little box of them. And I mean, they're so useful. I use them to clean the print heads. Occasionally when there's a buildup filament. But these brass brush heads are they're great for just cleaning everything. For a lot of things, not everything. And I think I need to do the initial 3D scans this week. So that I can get used to the new CAD program. Solid Edge by Simons. Whatever they call themselves. But it should be a little more robust than Shaper 3D, and it should have gear generation. So there are two things, or two projects that I'm going to work on to get a better understanding of Solid Edge. The first one is a mini follow focus. What I want to do is I want to use that to understand how Solid Edge generates its gears. I can speak clearly. But yeah, that's the one thing that's kind of holding me back with Shaper is the inability to generate gears. And I have a geared tripod head that I've been wanting to make, but I don't know how to make gears effectively on my own. And Shaper doesn't have that option. So what it leaves me with is using something like FreeCAD to generate the gears, and that's way too time consuming, right? If I have to jump between FreeCAD and then import them as a step file. Oh, right, what I'm doing right now is it's a little bumpy, so I'm trying to see exactly where it is. But yeah, so Solid Edge has gear generation, so I can do all the bevel gears or helical gears, make worm gear assemblies, so that I can get the gear tripod head going. But I think doing a mini follow focus will put me in a better position to understand and generate these gears correctly on the geared tripod head. But back to it, the 3D scanner I got to make a few things. unrelated to photography. Um, I have a few projects that I need to digitize. So I have a digital reference to work off of versus using calipers for measurements, which I mean, it's gotten me pretty far just having a digital caliper, but having that information in the program while designing, I think is going to be a game changer for me. Um, one of which is creating housings for camera lenses. Um, this guy. The Canon 105, 35 to 105, and I'm going to make rehousing for this. It's a Cine lens rehousing, um, so that we can make a housing to where the filter thread is fixed instead of rotating with the upper housing here. And then gears, oops, on the aperture ring and the focus ring. So if I can digitize these and I have a digital representation of the lens, it'll be easier to make the rehousing, so to speak. Um, and then I need to make, I guess, a new center console cluster for the Jeep. There's a lot of wasted space, and I need to do some duct work to relocate the two center AC vents. And if I can get that information in with the 3D scanner, I'll have less work to do with revisions. I hate doing revisions. It's a waste of time, waste of material, and yeah, just a waste of time, man. If I can get things right, well, if I can get things closer first, um, saves me so much time. Perfect. All right, so we got about 30 minutes before I got to take off here. And I think I should get through most of these. I should get through maybe half of these guys today. Or tonight. Once I get back from airport run. I will finish these up. Temple of the King. I think that was also the one. Alright, so this weekend should get the prototype working for Drill Driver. I think. Let me check right now. I think I got the part in for the chuck. It's going to be the collets, which should give me. Oh wow, not here yet. It should give me much more solid drill. I don't. So, in using these guys, I don't like the texture. Don't like the button press of this one. This one, it's light enough. I think that's what I want, but I think it's too far from the edge, right? So it takes a little more dexterity in the hand to do what I need. This one I think is right. It's close to the collet, so you've got good control. But this one, I don't know. I don't like the body designs. I prefer this one. It's more of a polygon versus this circle, because this just rolls everywhere, right? This polygon should stay somewhere. It shouldn't roll away. But I don't like it. I don't like both of these. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna end up with. Maybe some sort of trapezoid. Uh, but we'll have to see once I get all the wiring done. So I've stopped doing morning coffee. What I do now is I take pre-workout. That stuff, amazing. Um, I think pre-workout to start the day is so much more effective versus coffee. I mean, pre-workout tastes great, and then like you can literally feel the hair on your body stand up. Maybe that's not a good thing, but it works so much better than let's turn that down, increase the contrast. It's so much better than coffee. Oh, right. So the mount was missing on the 35 to 105 because I have some brass coming in to replace the aperture pin or the aperture lever because I'm changing it to EF. And there's something that I'm working out in my head using where's this guy? So, let's see. Does he have his name on this? So this is the EF protocol, and it was decrypted by this guy here. I'll have his name next time. But JP79DSFR.free.fr. That is his website. But he deconstructed, or I guess reverse engineered, the EF protocol. And I'm going to read through this to understand it so that I can do what I want. I will show you guys soon enough. I've got an Arduino Nano, so I should be able to come up with something. I just have to figure something out in my head before I work it out. But what it will do is save a lot of headache for people who adapt vintage lenses. Black Sabbath, War Pigs. Of course that works. Hmm. Perfect. But typically, like I said, I do this on the downdraft table. It just keeps everything cleaner, but doesn't make for good live streaming. Um, the vibrations doing this feels like chalks or fingernails on a chalkboard. I'm listening to Kate Bush's Running Up That Hill, and maybe like 2 months ago, 3 months ago, I went out to Starcourt, which is really, I think, the Gwinnett Mall over in Gwinnett, or wherever it is. But yeah, I want to go check it out. I took some photos with the Super or the ME Super, but I think either I misexposed or the film expired, or my film developer exhausted itself, or I exhausted my film developer. Sweet. I might finish these right now. Excellent. I think I need to improve the overhead stand that I have. It it's just too hard to adjust. I've got it on a ball head right now, attached to my gear tripod head. I feel like I need at least a gear tripod head so that I can get everything level, or as level I'd like it to be. I don't know which version I like of Running Up That Hill more. Kate Bush's or the Chromatics. I'm kind of partial to the Chromatics because that's the one I heard first. So that was my introduction to Kate Bush. But there is something very charming about the original. Oh, bringing it back to Queen. I think the only person who's ever been able, to me at least, has ever been able to cover Freddie Mercury's vocals is George Michael. If you look at his "Somebody to Love," sounds so similar to Freddie Mercury. Um, Perfect. Man, I am gonna get done with you. Ow, 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 ow. Somebody. Oh, I also just picked up a new parts bin because the solution I have right now, guys, I promise you, I can speak clearly. It's just the monitoring that throws me off. Um, but the parts storage solution that I have right now isn't the best. And with this new rolling part storage with bins and stuff, it should make things a little more organized, a little more accurate, and accessible. Um, Once I get it in tomorrow, I'm gonna take a little bit to reorganize the shop area, kind of space everything out so that I have more room to work in. But yeah, this I should have gotten um, this parts storage in the beginning. What happened to Ed Sheeran? Good. Very good. Very good. Alright. Should do that. That's actually pretty good. Sweet. Back. Right. So once I get back, I should only have to apply the grease and then pack the channels with a little bit of grease. They should be ready to go. Almost done. Ah. Man, I will only have to apply the grease and pack the channels. Alright, so plan for this week, finish out this batch, reorganize with the new parts container storage system, and then should be closer to finishing out the website orders. Sweet, sweet. Oops. Gotta reset the. I had to reset the thingamabob over there. The what do you call it? The ups. The back ups. Because I tripped it. Because I'm running a heater along with that guy, the vacuum. So right, so plan, finish out this batch, then we're going to go ahead and clean and organize the parts again, then keep assembling. Hopefully, I'll have time this weekend to 3D scan some stuff, and I'll be able to show you guys. Because, I mean, I have everything. It's just I need to do it. Oops. What was that? Ah. Sweet. I really need to get the prototype done for the drill driver so that I can start to use it to tap, because I still have to do this motion. It bothers my hand a lot. But yeah, I've got to run to the airport. So I will catch you guys on Thursday. And we should be Tuesday or Thursday looking at possibly boxing up. So I should have the halves ready. Might have to reach out to them to see what mount they want. But other than that, they should be pretty much good to go. So yeah, catch you guys on Thursday.